integer num and integer target. Return an index of two number add up to target. So you may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, so you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. It means that when you return the answer, it do not have to following in increasing or decreasing. Let's analyze the questions first. So when we have the input is an array nums. 2, we have 2, 7, 11, 15. And the target is also the input as well. Let's think about the questions asked us. They ask us return an index of the two number. It means that you have to find out the index of two number in array that come up with target. Based on the information you get in here, we have 2, 11, 7, and 15. So we can get it. We can guess like, okay, target is equal 9, so it can be 2 plus 7. So the input should return the index of 2 and 7. The index of array range from 0. Here's an index of this array. 0, 1, 2, 3. An index is that the address, I can explain as like the address or the location of the element. So it means that in the element 1 has a value 2 and its index is 0. Index of 7 is 1. Index of 11 is 2. Index of 15 is 3. So the target equal 9 is mean that you plus 7 with 2. So you got 9. And the output that the algorithm expected to return is the index of those numbers. That's 0 and 1. And the explanation also show like because the index of 0 the value of the element in index 0 and the value of the element in index 1 equal 9. So they return 0 and 1. We can guess this. Like we do not have to guess anything because it's very straightforward. 7 plus 2 equal 9. So let's go to the next example. So we're done with the example 1 and let's go with the example 2. We have the array 3, 2, and 4. So the index is 0, 1, and 2. What is the target that we're looking for? Oh, we already get the target is 6, right? The target is 6. So we can like, based on the array, we know that 2 plus 4 equal 6. That is very straightforward. And the output is expected that return the index of 2 and 4. Because, come back to the expected solution. They say, return an index of the two numbers such that add up to the target. It means you do not return 2 and 4. You should be return the index of 2 and 4. So that is 1 and 2. 1 and 2. See? Okay, let's go with the final example. We should get clear after go through the example and we will start to think about the approach that bring us to the exactly or the expected solution. Okay, the example 3. So we have the array nums have two elements, same value, that is 2 and 2. So 0 and 1 is the index. Target 6 again 3 plus 3 equals 6. So the expected we return their index. So index 0 and index 1, right? The index again run from 0 to the final element of the array. So 0 and 1. So the output is 0 and 1. So now let's think about the algorithm, like the pseudocode. What is the technique that you want to use? Of course, like I said, brute force approach. It means that you approach the problem by step and with the like very simple step, and it's not yet optimized because it's very straightforward. It means that the time complexity sometimes is very big and we have to optimize later to get the efficiency in the memory. So for this question, I would think about the for loop, the loops. So why we should use loops in here? I will use for loop. So why I think about the for loop for this questions? Because we have an array. We should go through every element to check and to get the element that we expected. For example, with the array nums, I will use the example 1 to implement. So we got 2, 7, 11, and 15. So for loop will go from the index 1 to the index n, right? To the index n. So that's the reason why I want to use the loops in here, because it can have us like running through every element in an array. And of course, the loops cannot run forever. We should have the condition when it stops and when it should be returned the solution that we expected. But the thing is, like, we should return 2 index, right? 2 index. Why 2 index? Because the sum is the addition between 2 elements. It means that we have returned 2 index. So we have for loops for I and for loop of j. And I will go before j. Okay, so we already get like I and j for every round that we run to check the elements to get in the expected target. So the next part I will show you like how we implement the pseudocode to the real code and to check it is not right or wrong. A class solution. And then we declare the reason why that we declare the class is that it will be intended to contain the method that we can solve the problem. So after declare the class solution, the next one we will define the method that we find out the solution. So the problem name twosum. So we have twosum. And then inside of the method, we have 3 parameters. The first one is a cell. This is the first parameter of the instant method. So it's just the like convention in Python, and that's reference to the instant of the class. The next one we have the second parameter, that is nums. That is the second parameter that expected a list of integer. The reason why I say it should be the list of integer because it's represent for the input list of numbers that we will put into the algorithm. Yes, and the third parameter is target. And the target is also expected to be an integer as well. So we have integer. So close. And the final one we will call show like our expected output. The output that we expected, that is the list of integer that represent for the index of twosum method. So we have list integer. That is the list of index that we expected for. Okay, so the next one we will call a variable n, and is will be the store of length of array nums. Okay, we're done with the setup, and the next one we should think about the loops. Like I said, we use loops in here to iterate the element in the arrays. So we have the nested loop. It means that we can expect that the time complexity in brute force approach, which will be log and square, because we have two loops. So first one we have for, yeah, very similar, for index is in range length of array nums -1. It will be seen that our index will be run from 0 to the length of nums -1. So it's and I in here, I represent for the first index, or the index of the first number, the first element that we will use when we make the addition or summation to target. So this is the first index, and inside the for loop, so we have the next for loop for j. Guess what? For j, we cannot make, like, we cannot let the pair the pair that have the same start. It means that the j should be start immediately after I. So let's think about the range that j start. So for j in range index I plus 1, and it will be n in the n of the length num, the n of the length num. So we have two loops now. So the third one, we cannot let our loops run and never stop. We should have the condition, that is the if statement, to stop them, because that's in the moment we get the results that we expected to do this thing. So if when the, so let's think about it for a few seconds. When will, like, the loops will be stopped? Yeah, Yeah. I just think about that. Here, we return an index of two numbers such that they add up to the target. It's already solved in the questions. So the loops will be start when the elements, the first element of I plus element of index j equal to the sum of target, right? So what we expected they return for us, that is the list of index. So it will be return list of index I, j. But if we cannot get it after try with all the the possible or combination in the array, what should we return? Yeah, for example, you go to the market and you cannot get what you get for, it means that you will get the empty bracket, like the empty bracket, right? So like this, we will return in the outside of the loops, not return inside. Return inside here, return inside here, return inside here, that you can expect that they get the solution and they stop the loops. But when they run through the array and in the end they still cannot show us the index that we expected, it will be returned the empty list. The empty list that empty list. Yeah, so this is the solution for twosum when you use brute force approach. But I believe that we can use the another approach that can optimize our solution. But the thing is, we cannot get the further step without the initial step. So brute force approach is still really good when you think about okay, is there any way that I can think immediately? Yes, we use loops to iterate, to implement the array, and to find out the list of index what we're looking for. But the thing is, we get the time complexity is O log n square because we have two for loop. So let's think about the next part that we can optimize the solution. Thank you.